And it's come to an end. Scarlet and Violet's official last set is now with us, black and white. And let's have a think about what Scarlet and Violet has left us with. And before I start this video, I just want to premise the whole thing on, just because there's certain sentiment towards sets now, just because certain chase cards throughout Scarlet and Violet are worth what they're worth now, doesn't mean that's what it's going to be in the future. Something hot now can die off. Something that has no love can jump into the stratosphere and become a really expensive investment. So if you're new to this channel, of course, what we're all about here is talking Pokemon investing. I'm Michael, this is PokeOz. Thanks heaps for tuning in, especially to the continued viewers that show this channel a lot of love and support. I really, really appreciate it. So let's talk all things investing for Scarlet and Violet now it's come to a close. And let's start off talking about what it'll be remembered for. And I think it's a few things that the whole era will be remembered for. And look, this is probably a small one in the whole significance of it all. But I think the silver borders, we have to start off by saying, Pokemon has changed to what Japanese had, which is silver borders. So now all English sets come with silver bordered Pokemon cards. That is something it'll be remembered for. Whether it's a good thing, bad thing, something in between, I'll let you guys and girls at home decide that. The other thing I think it'll be remembered for from an investing standpoint, particularly when it comes to singles, is its level of depth. It has a lot of depth of chase cards throughout Scarlet and Violet. Illustration rares have added that new layer of depth where we have a lot of cards north of $5. But I think also, as well as having a lot of depth, I think it'll be remembered for, especially in comparison to Sword and Shield, a lack of really heavy hitting chase cards. And I think that's the difference between Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield bought us some really heavy hitting alternate art Pokemon cards that are worth a lot of money. And Scarlet and Violet bought us some really nice chase cards, and some of them, yes, worth a lot of money, but a lot more depth when it comes to it. And I think that's one of the key differences between Sword and Shield and also Scarlet and Violet. The other thing I think it'll be remembered for is probably the first era where we have the highest percentage of non-booster box based Pokemon card sets. So what I mean by that is there's more holiday sets. That is, there's more sets that don't come with booster boxes. So a lot of sets where the biggest product you can buy is either an Elite Trainer box, Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box, or a collection box which might net you 10 or 11 booster packs. Now, is this a intentional move from the Pokemon Company International to get people to buy more products? Quite likely. Is it more profitable for them to do it that way? I don't know. I'm not sitting on the board meeting or looking at the balance sheets, but quite possibly. Is packing 36 packs into a booster box and making it really dense not the best profitable outcome for them? Quite possibly. Is that a play that we're going to see moving forward? Also quite possibly. I don't know. I'm just speculating. It's a bit of anecdotal evidence. But the fact remains that for Scarlet and Violet, what will be remembered by in that instance is we've had a lot of holiday sets inside there. Moreover than that, what will also be remembered for is the strength of the holiday sets. In fact, I think you could argue throughout Scarlet and Violet, and I'm dumbing this right down, a holiday set has no booster box, whereas a main set, of course, comes with a booster box. Scarlet and Violet will be remembered for having stronger holiday sets than it did main booster box sets. Let's have a look. Maybe excluding Shrouded Fable, but Black and White are both, fairly strong sets, and I'll do some videos on those very soon, or at least a video on those sets very soon. 151 brings back the nostalgia train with a phenomenal homage to the original 151 Pokemon. We've got Prismatic Evolutions inside there. Paldean Fates has proven to be a really, really strong set. Shrouded Fable in there as well, which is probably, for somewhat, I'm probably showing some, throwing some shade at it, but the ugly duckling of the holiday set family from Scarlet and Violet. But you get my point. It'll be remembered for that. So there's so many things I think Scarlet and Violet will be remembered for. And I always say to people, you get really stuck in this mindset when it comes to investing in Pokemon cards of where we're at right now. And I just want to premise that right back at the start of the video. I said things can change. Keep in mind Magikarp from Paldea Evolved was an $18 card when that set first came out. And generally speaking, cards come out of the gate pretty hot. Magikarp didn't. It was $18 and look at it now. Look at some of those Sun and Moon era cards. Some of those alternate art tag team Pokemon cards which were like $30, $40 chase cards when they first come out. And now, you know, that Latios, what's that? North of $1,000 raw, probably $1,500 raw, $2,000 raw. I don't know, I haven't checked it, but you get my point. Sometimes things come out of the gate in a certain position and then they can change. Something like Dragon Majesty as well from Sun and Moon was not a liked set when it came out. Like it's small, where's the chase cards? You know, Elite Trainer boxes are sitting on the shelves, they're not going to sell. And look at the price of a Dragon Majesty Elite Trainer box now. So when it comes to investing, what I think you should do for the Scarlet and Violet era is zoom right out. And it's a really hard thing to do. And what I mean by that is go, Scarlet and Violet is going to be, in the grand scheme, as much as there's hype around it now and everyone loves it, it's sitting in this spectrum of Pokemon cards, and it's right here, and that's a pretty small spectrum of where we've been across the whole journey. So if we zoom out, we can look at Scarlet and Violet a little bit more objectively, and look, Pokemon Company International, I feel, threw the absolute kitchen sink at Scarlet and Violet. Did they miss some tricks along the way? Yes, they did, in my opinion. You know, we should have had a Shining Gyarados from Shinji Kanda coming Paldea Evolved. We should have had, you know, more special illustration rares for some of the 151. We should have had plenty more examples. The biggest one, probably Rocket. You know, we should have had dark and light Pokemon. And look, maybe I'm not trying to whinge here. I'm just saying they did miss a couple of tricks, but they did also throw the kitchen sink in it. The artwork will be something it'll be remembered for as well. And moreover than that, I think one of the main things it'll be remembered for is the nostalgia train. Like, they really just threw so much at it. I mean, Black and White, and look, you might have had to have grown up in that generation to really appreciate that, but of course 151, they did pay homage to some older generations, and I think that's something that might continue through to the next generations of Pokemon. But if we zoom right back out, we go, well, Scarlet and Violet sits in this little spectrum of Pokemon, and then we can see Sword and Shield before that, and of course Sun and Moon and X and Y, and then you look back and you go, you know what, eventually this is just going to be a blip in time. And when it comes to investing, we need to make smart choices about where we put our money in Scarlet and Violet. And look, that case in point when it comes to Dragon Majesty, for argument's sake, or changes in prices of some of the major hits like Latios and Latios from Team Up, sometimes you just don't know. And look, it's somewhat okay to diversify, but then in a lot of other cases, we can use the general rule of thumb. And I know it's become a little bit of a mantra for this channel, but the general rule of thumb is this. The higher the total set value for any given set, the stronger the sealed product. There's a direct correlation between those two things. There's also a direct correlation when it comes to total set value. Generally speaking, that total set value is going to be made up predominantly of the top 5 hits. And that means you have strong chase cards inside a set. And what do people love doing? They absolutely love gambling on things. They love that thrill of the chase. They also love gambling on gambling. So not only if they pull the mega hit or the mega chase card, the ability that if that grades a 10, that it's going to be worth even more money, that gamble on top of gamble, that's just human nature. People will chase that thrill and they'll chase that rush. So when it comes to Scarlet and Violet, we zoom out and we look down in on it. You know, I think there's probably some sets on there that we could avoid. You know, maybe something like Shrouded Fable when it comes to those holiday sets. People will look at that and go, okay, there's a few expensive cards, but you know why they're expensive? Because they're playable at the moment. What happens when they go out of rotation? They're probably going to drop off in price, and Shrouded Fable's total set value is probably going to go down. You know, that Persian hasn't really popped off as much as it should have. You know, is there many collectible chase cards inside Shrouded Fable? So we look at the holiday sets, Shrouded Fable, 151, Prismatic Evolutions, Black and White, Paldean Fates, and we can go, okay, maybe we'll stick clear of Shrouded Fable in that regards. And we look at the other 4, and I think you can just go, wow, like all of them are pretty good. You know, Black and White are probably B+ sets, Paldean Fates are probably B+ sets, and Prismatic Evolutions and 151 are like A/A+ sets in my opinion. So if you're going to invest in anything throughout that era, I mean, if you can pick up a Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box from either 151 or Prismatic Evolutions, particularly when those sets come out, and I'm talking a little bit of hindsight here, you'd be absolutely flying. I mean, look at the price of 151 Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes. That is going to go down as a real collectible item. I said that as soon as that set come out, that Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box with the Snorlax promo, the Pokemon Center logo sitting on side it, that's going to be worth a lot. It's going to be a real collectible item, and it's proven to be so. It's a very, very expensive item. And zooming out again, if we look at the main sets, the booster box sets, same thing. You know, we need to use our due diligence there and go, well, what set has good chase cards? What sets have good total set value? We can look back and we can go, okay, base set doesn't have a great deal inside there, but it is a base set. Eventually it'll go up in price. That's just natural. So maybe we'll grab a couple of those. We look at how they evolved and we go, okay, look, there's a really nice Magikarp in there and there's some sweet illustration rares with like the Tyranitar and the Sleeping Raichu. Okay, that's not a bad pickup. I'd like to get a few of those for my collection. Obsidian Flames, it shot up in price just because everything has in Pokemon at the moment because people want to rip packs. Are there any real chase cards inside there? The Charizard's like $50. Some of those illustration rares like the Scizor are pretty nice. The Ninetales is pretty nice. Is there anything in the future that someone's going to really want to open an Obsidian Flames booster box? Probably not. I wouldn't park my money there ahead of other sets. And we go to sets like Paradox Rift and Temporal Forces, and it feels like those are some of the two biggest sets where people missed a trick. You know, there's some really nice artworks inside there. There's really nice depth to the illustration rares. I'd probably add a couple of those to my investment portfolio. Then we go through to something like Twilight Masquerade, which has that banger chase card in the Greninja. I think that might get dearer, just as a personal opinion. I would think Twilight Masquerade would actually be quite a good investment down the track. Again, I would park some money there. Then we move forward to sets like Stellar Crown. Stellar Crown, again, is there any real chase cards inside there? The Bulbasaur and Squirtle are beautiful cards. Pull rates seem to get a little bit easier in there. Look, same thing. It's shot up in price because anyone will take anything Pokemon at the moment to open some packs as cheap as they possibly can. Then we had Surging Sparks, which is another fantastic Pokemon card set in my opinion. It finally got some depth of some heavy hitters. Look, total set price has dropped as more supplies hit the market. That has been printed quite heavily, but I think booster boxes of Surging Sparks will be proven to be good investments. I would definitely pick up some of those for the portfolio. Journey Together will be a little bit of an underlier, depending on its print runs, especially the one with the box topper we bought back again. More nostalgia, how I was talking, you know, a rewind back to when we had trainer Pokemon. It's come back. Like, they've thrown everything at Scarlet and Violet, haven't they? And then, of course, Destined Rivals, I think, would be the best booster box pick from the whole Scarlet and Violet era. It's a real homage to the old Team Rocket sets. There's some great Pokemon cards inside there. Could it have been better? Yes, in my opinion, it could have. But again, we do have that depth of chase. So that's sort of, if I'm looking out and zooming out on the whole Scarlet and Violet era, I think that's what it'll be remembered for. I think if you were to balance out a portfolio, those examples that I've just given you is probably how your portfolio for sealed investments from Scarlet and Violet should sit. Great era. Looking forward to the next one, Mega Evolutions. Let's rock on with that one. I'm Michael. This is PokeOz. Catch everyone next time. And of course, today's video sponsor is, of course, the Collector app. If you don't have it, I urge you to download it. It'll be a link in the description to download it. It's a really, really good app for your whole sealed and singles collection. You can put them all in. You can follow my journey down in the collectors tab, in the content creators tab. The good thing now is you can jump into a set. You can filter from, you know, top hit down to lowest hit. You can jump into set analytics now as well. Set analytics is really important because what it shows you is total set value, which is what we've been talking about in this video, and how important that is to the resale rating, the appreciation of sealed product, the chase cards inside the set. It'll show you the top chase cards and the best hits inside the set, what the market is currently hot for at the moment and what they want. And such an easy app to use. There's also a pro version if you'd like to sign up with awesome giveaways each month. So I urge everyone to download the Collector app.